In Tonga City, the crowd stood frozen in shock as a startling announcement was shouted out loud to everyone. Because Xiaoan was so special, the Likinga senior princess was destined to marry him, and their big day was set for tomorrow. People started talking about how the two war gods of the Qing family died from wandering too deep into the desert, leaving Qingyu, Tonga's strongest warrior and the dynasty's ruler, disabled. The man at the pillar was shocked to see the princess agree to marry so fast, but the woman nearby said that any woman would be lucky to be Jiao's wife. Everyone talked about how amazing Prince Jiao and Miss Li would be as they personally visited the Qing family's courtyard. Qingyu, who could barely move, lay helplessly in his bed. Jiaoan and Miss Li stood nearby with smirking faces, mocking how he had been Tonga's pride since childhood. By the time he was 3, he already understood what true perfection meant, started learning the secret skill at 9, mastered it completely by 13, and was almost stepping into the spiritual world by 18. Jiaoan grabbed Qingyu by the neck, claiming he was as helpless as a dog since his muscles were torn and his spirit was fading, even though he was now leaning on Qingyu while boasting about being the great hero who saved him. Then he let out a loud laugh and declared that he would finally marry his bride. Standing beside Linga with a grin, Qingyu realized that the blood of the imperial family flowed in her veins, marking her fate to conquer the world, and she then explained that the Qing family's great fortune came only because her father begged to give her to her. She then shouted that the Qing family were nothing but dogs of the imperial dynasty and declared that only someone with truly outstanding qualities could win her. With a loud shout, she threw up her hands and declared that one little trick had killed Qing Jiang and Qing Hang, crippled Qingyu, and set her on the path to greatness. After those words, Likinga hugged Xiaoan and declared they were a match made by heaven, for she was both beautiful and talented, a true descendant of an immortal clan. Hearing this, Xiaoan called Likinga a truly great person and said he would love her with all his heart. Then they shared a laugh and walked away. Suddenly, Qingyu was filled with powerful energy and left a mark on his forehead. Suddenly, a voice appeared in his mind to ask if he wanted to live. Afterward, the entity poured energy into Qingyu's body and declared she wanted to see what Qingyu could do. Qingyu snapped his eyes open and jumped to his feet. Staring at his hands, he couldn't make sense of how he had returned or what had happened. Qingyu remembered his grandfather and father with regret, wishing he could have gotten up sooner to save them from dying. After shouting these words in rage, Qingyu woke up from his nightmare. After a moment's thought, Qingyu jumped up and rushed to Jiaoan and Likinga for a quick chat before the big wedding. When Jiaoan saw Qingyu, he laughed in anger, struck him down, and then led him with his servants into the desert, hoping Qingyu would never make it through. "Everything will be fine," the girl said to the exhausted Qingyu, trying to lift his spirits before handing him a drink of water. It was Linga's sister, Liang Yao, who stepped out of Qingyu after saving him from the desert. After a decade of training, Qingyu finally seized the desert's opportunity to claim his inheritance, but he never saw it coming. Whenever Lai Kinga practiced his moves, he would kill his sister. When Li Qingha was taken, Qingyu let out a scream of grief and rushed straight to the imperial palace to seek revenge. When Qingyu arrived, he saw Li Qingha and Xiaoan were already gone, so he had no choice but to start his path of cultivation all over again. Once Qingyu took the throne as supreme devil, he set out once more to hunt down Lai Kinga and Xiaoan. Back then, Li Kinga had already ruled the whole continent as empress, while Xiaoan led the immortal clan. They joined forces with rulers from across the world to take Qingyu's life. After that, they jumped into a fierce battle, but since Qingyu was outnumbered, he took a bad hit and found himself trapped on all sides. Xiaoan told Qingyu he had to face death with no chance of escape, but Qingyu filled himself with strength and promised that if he fell, he would take them all down with him. That was a shocking blow to Li Qingha and Zhang Dan. Suddenly, a massive explosion erupted on the battlefield, killing everyone there. But Qingyu remembered his past life and swore to take revenge on Xiaoan and Li Qingha. In the end, a lucky accident in the desert lands handed him the Book of Nature, which held 108 savage beasts and 72 holy ones. Qingyu unrolled the scroll to find he could wake a beast, so he called forth the ghost of Yazi. The fierce Yazi possessed a body and bones far stronger than anyone else's. With Yazi's help, Qingyu will finally break through and reach the first level of the spiritual realm. Qingyu remembered the faces of Lai Qingha and Xiaoan as he declared that they would soon feel the full force of his rage. Suddenly, the door swung open and a man stepped in, startled to find Qingyu awake. When Qingyu saw him, he immediately clenched his teeth in anger because that was Qing Shuang, the elder of the Qing family, who was like a brother to his father. He secretly joined forces with Li Qingha to send Qingyu and his family to the desert, only for him to later turn into a dog warrior and slaughter Qingyu's whole family. Seeing Qingyu, Qing Shuang felt a rush of joy because his torn veins meant he was finally nothing, and he laughed out loud at the thought. He felt a strange joy as the once great genius Qing Yu crashed down from the altar, turning into nothing but worthless trash. Qing Yu shouted for the dog's head, who believed that changing owners was the only way to fill the emptiness, and that even falling on the altar wouldn't make Qing Shuang fail. As soon as Qing Shuang heard the insulting words, he slammed his mouth shut. He had done everything he could for the Qing family but got nothing back. So he chose to betray them and declared that from now on, the Qing family belongs to Qingguang. Hearing those words, Qing Yu stood up in a rage and charged at Qing Shuang, who blamed everything on Qing Yu. Filled with rage, Qing Shuang declared he would send Qing Yu to the underworld and ordered him to tell Qing that he was the one who killed him. Right after he spoke, a fist smashed into his face, sending him crashing to the floor. Gripping Qingguang by the throat, Qing Yu declared that a dog that bites has only one fate, and then he took Qing Shuang's life. Once the killing was done, Qing Yu quickly put on his clothes and headed for the exit, which led to the capital of the Divine Sword Dynasty. The guards at the capital's gates are whispering about the rumor that their princess is getting married to a man from the Immortal clan. After that, one of the guards added that people from the clan of Immortals are simply terrible and no one dares to anger them. A senior guard heard the men talking about the princess's husband and snapped for them to be quiet, then told them to get back to their duties. The maids walked up to the princess, bowed low, and politely asked if she could interrupt her rest. When Lena put on her wedding dress, the gate finally swung open for them. As she stepped into the room, the maids told her the ceremony was almost here and it was time to head to the palace. Knowing the time had come, Linga rushed straight to the palace. Trumpeters blew their horns to shout that the prince and princess were coming. The prince and princess climbed the steps to the grand imperial hall. The messenger told the emperor they had arrived, then stepped forward to bow before Liking Ha, the ruler of the Divine Sword Dynasty. The emperor announced he would give his daughter Xiaoan to King Ha to be his wife and asked him to treat her with kindness. Jodian bowed to the emperor and held Li Qing's hands to swear an oath, just as a spear suddenly smashed through the door and killed several guards, leaving everyone shocked while the furious emperor demanded to know why the ceremony was interrupted. Then, Liking Ha and Xiaoan were scared out of their minds when they finally saw Qing Yu. As Qing Yu gazed at the emperor, he felt a surge of joy, thrilled to see how Yazi's power had boosted his abilities, so much since he reached the first level of the spiritual realm. As he worried that summoning the beast right now would be a disaster, Xiaoan was shocked to see Qing Yu's power had come back. After that, the shocked Liking Ha couldn't figure out how it happened, because his veins were ripped apart, turning him into nothing at all. Qing Yu climbed the stairs as Xiaoan, scared and confused, wondered what was going on. Seeing how terrified he was, the emperor sighed that even though Xiaoan was from a legendary family, he was a lost cause, while Qing Yu's skills had barely improved. So the emperor laughed, patted his mustache, and said he didn't expect much from Qing Yu today and ordered him to stay home and rest. Qing Yu thrust a spear right up to the emperor's forehead and demanded he stop acting fake, warning that without his father's past rescue, he would have been a ghost by now. He told the emperor that his Qing family was ready to do anything for him and that their past services had been huge and important. After saying that, he turned to the emperor and asked what happened to their families. Knowing that Xiaoan and Li Qing had plotted a crime together, and the moment news of the Qing clan's fate spread, everyone at the banquet started talking about what they had heard. Zan stepped forward to silence Qing Yu, unleashed a burst of purple energy to reveal a third eye on his forehead, admitted he had underestimated the opponent, yet remained confident that Qing Yu's fake injuries and low power level wouldn't let him hurt Zan at all. Qing Yu stepped up to test his strength, then swung his spear aside and let out a blast of golden energy. As soon as the guards rushed to shield the emperor, he felt confident that Xiaoan would triumph because, despite their equal power, the emperor's immortal blood gave him the edge. The emperor reached out and stopped Xiaoan from beating Qing Yu too hard, reminding him that the Qing family had served the empire well. As a consequence, he decided to gently punish Qing Yu by destroying his cultivation. So Xiaoan began the fight by summoning the Xiaoan family's divine weapon, the Green Flame. When they heard this, the crowd cheered for Xiaoan but felt sorry for Qing Yu. He ran his hand along the sword and told Qing Yu all about the blade he was holding. Qing Yu replied that he was gripping the Qing family's 6th-stage war spear, an earthly blade soaked in the blood of tens of thousands and sharpened by the severed heads of countless victims. Hearing this, Xiaoan roared in anger that it was just a mortal blade. Then he swung the sword high above his head. With a mark on his forehead, Qing Yu spotted the perfect moment to strike and called forth Yazi's ghost, and a war god's spear to instantly destroy his target. As Jao got closer, a spear swooped in from behind with a surprise curve. Xiaoan snapped with rage at Qing Yu's bold underestimate and slashed the spear apart with his sword. Xiaoan couldn't believe his eyes as his sword snapped under a normal hit, slamming him into the ground and making him cough up blood. Everyone, including the emperor and Liana, stood frozen in shock at what they were seeing. Refusing to believe it was real, Leah commanded Zhaoan to rise and fight Qingyu. Qingyu looked at Zhaoan and asked if the immortal's descendant was really so weak. Zhaoan gripped the spear with both hands and strained to pull it free. After that, Qingyu pressed him harder, mocking the man who was supposed to be the pride of the whole imperial family and seeing only a weak, frail figure before him. Japan admitted he didn't realize the Qing family's weapon was divine and could shatter his sword, thinking it was just an ordinary tool. After wiping the blood from his spear, Qingyu told Zhaoan that his weapon, honed by centuries of battle, was far tougher than Zhaoan's fragile divine sword. Hearing these words, Qingyu thought that Yazi's divine power lies in merging with weapons, either earthly or divine, and right now his spear holds at least the strength of the second level of earthly weapons. The emperor stared in shock when he saw the Qing family actually possessed a divine weapon. He doubted this because he watched their every move, and after seeing Qingyu get the spear in the desert, he decided to keep an eye on him to find out where Qingyu hid it. After thinking it over, the emperor told Xiao Dan that he had made a mistake by giving his daughter to someone who couldn't even beat Qingyu. Xiaoan tried to explain himself to the emperor, but seeing it was useless, he bit his teeth together and let out a scream, his eyes turning red as the glowing mark on his forehead fully opened. Having unleashed all his power, Zhaoan told Qingyu he had underestimated him, then declared himself a descendant of the immortal clan, leaped onto Qingyu, and called him an ordinary person. The moment Zhaoan stepped near, a hard punch to his face sent him flying. Qingyu shouted about the noise from Zhaoan, then stomped down on him with all his might, vowing that today Zhaoan would finally pay for everything he had done. Qingyu lifted his spear high above Zhaoan and, screaming "Die!" was about to drive it down. Seeing this, Lai Kinga started pleading with her father to save her husband. As the spear raced towards Xiaoan, he begged for rescue just as a flash of light appeared. Qingyu rushed to block the enemy's strike, but the blow knocked him flying into the air with his spear. Seeing how strong the attacker was, the guard used the force of the blow to pull Xiaoan away and hide him in safety. The guard stood tall and saw Qingyu was talented, but he was too reckless to run wild in the imperial city. Qingyu recalled that guard, Booty Liqing, a personal protector who was almost strong enough to become a level 2 spiritual realm master. As Liinga watched her husband grow, she ordered her guard to kill Qingyu. The emperor then declared that Qingyu had broken the law and hurt many nobles, so he must be punished by breaking his arms and legs because he comes from the family Qing. Hearing this, Booty smiled crazily, grabbed the order, and leaped toward Qingyu with an insane laugh. Qingyu was stunned by how fast the other guy was, and right after that, he got hit hard and flew through the air. He wasn't going to let the victim go. The broken guard kept pushing the victim, yelling at him to stand up. Qingyu called upon the mighty dragon Yazi to push back the guard's assault and leave him shocked, while Booty, spotting the strange shadow of Yath, trembled in fear and asked what it could be. Qingyu grabbed Booty's hands, leaped into the air, and shouted to Baihui to stop before kicking him with the fierce power of Yazi, sending the bewildered guard flying. Qingyu grabbed his spear and declared that Luing Ha was his next target. Hearing this, the emperor's anger flared, and he reminded Qingyu that despite the Qing family's protection, he had forgotten how truly powerful the emperor really was. Right after that, Qingyu was instantly swarmed by the emperor's guards. When Qingyu spotted the guards, he couldn't help but wonder if that was truly all the imperial family had to show. Then he told the emperor he didn't grasp how much power he held, dashed past the guards in a heartbeat, and seized the emperor by the throat. Lai King Ha and the guards froze in fear the moment they saw it. Lakinga urged Qingyu to think carefully as he faced guards from the second spiritual realm, but Qingyu smiled at the emperor to reassure him before looking around and feeling as though he had returned to a past life. The guards wear thick armor that deals massive damage but makes them move very slowly. Qingyu gripped the emperor's throat so hard that all he could do was whisper a weak scream. The emperor pleaded for his life, but Qingyu refused to let him walk away free. Suddenly, a blinding beam of light cut through the sky, slamming down on Qingyu with crushing force. After the flash, a new man told Qingyu to forgive, but Qingyu was shocked by the overwhelming power he felt, realizing this person had grown far stronger than he was in a past life. A winged man in white robes, with 3 eyes glowing on his forehead, stood before them. The leader of the immortal clan stepped forward to make his presence known. Zhaoan told Qingyu that the immortal clan and the imperial family came from the same root, so he begged Qingyu to let the emperor live. When the newcomers arrived, Zhaoan asked one of them to kill Qingyu, but he called him uncle instead. Feeling he had the situation under control, the emperor laughed at Qingyu, convinced he couldn't defeat him that day. Standing in the doorway, Qingyu realized he couldn't kill Zhao Huan anymore. Xiao Huan told Qingyu that since they've always helped others, they are willing to forgive him even for what he did today. After that, he turned to Zhaoan and scolded him for that terrible act, warning him that when he returns, he will be punished according to family law. After reprimanding Jiawen, Zhao Han told the emperor that the royal family was to blame and that he had confessed to Qingyu, which the emperor reluctantly accepted. After speaking with everyone, Zhao Han opened his third eye and told Qingyu to set the emperor free. Qingyu tumbled into a deep pit, frozen in place by the 9th level of the spiritual realm's terrifying aura, and instantly knew she had encountered something far too powerful. Qingyu saw what was happening, unleashed his power, and warned the Celestial that suppression alone wouldn't work, so he tightened his grip on the emperor's neck. Qingyu could hold back his mighty powers even while standing at just the 1st level of the spiritual realm. Free at last, Qingyu told the immortal he had only one way out. Then with a quick hand movement, he robbed the emperor of his breath and left him only a gasping cry. Kinga froze in shock at her father's death while the crowd gasped as Qingyu struck down the emperor, only for the guards to rush toward him in an instant. Seeing what was there, Xiao Huan guessed that Qingyu had found something in the desert. After slaying the emperor, Qingyu grabbed him by the robe and tossed him toward the Celestial, who easily opened his wings to catch him. Qingyu tried to run away and say goodbye to the immortal leader, but an invisible force grabbed him and made him kneel. Xiaoan stopped Qingyu, calling him too arrogant for trying to flee the celestial realm right after killing the emperor at the peak of his power. Squeezed by the crushing weight, Qingyu realized the force suppressing him was 10 times stronger than before. After that, he called upon the power of Yazi and rose to his feet. Qingyu pushed himself up from his knees, lifted his spear, and fired off energy waves at Liking Ha and Zhaoan. The great star cut the waves in half, treating them like nothing more than toys for children. Then he saw Qingyu running away. Qingyu leaped down the stairs and waved a final goodbye. Zhaoan spread his wings wide and told Qingyu that there was no way to escape. After that, Qingyu warned that if the heavenly forces chased him, Zhaoan would die from fatal wounds, giving him a choice between his life and his revenge. But the bleeding Zhaoan begged his uncle to save him, only for the uncle to smirk and call Qingyu a funny boy. He then told Qingyu that this time he would let him go. After missing Qingyu, Xiao Huan mended Zhaoan and told him his wounds were no longer fatal. Zhao Dan warned his uncle that peace would not return unless Qingyu died. So Zhao Han promised to make sure Qingyu paid for the harm done that day. Zhao Han turned back, thought of Emperor Li Jianhe, and laughed at him as if he meant nothing. Lena sat stunned as the being above told her she must now stand by her husband after her father's death, and she could only nod with tears streaming down her face. Zhaoan shot into the sky and told the people their emperor had died, leaving their empire under the immortal clan's control, so he ordered everyone to hunt down Qingyu. A guard asked the princess for orders, and she just ground her teeth before saying they must all obey the immortal, which made him happy at how easily they gave in. Qingyu bolted from the empire, convinced that the Divine Sword Empire would hunt him down forever for killing their emperor and refusing to let him go. After that, Qingyu puzzled over why Zhaoan was here in this life when he never was before, but knowing it didn't matter, he chose to let Zhaoan and Li Qinghe live a bit longer before leaping off the cliff. After the emperor was killed, the whole Divine Sword Empire sent out an order to punish Qingyu, saying that since he was a Qing family member, he had lost his honor and done something truly horrible. He stood before the crowd and killed Emperor Li Jianhe, then slipped away into the shadows. The person who captures the criminal will get a piece of the city's land as a prize. With an eagle watching overhead, Qingyu and his fellow travelers sped through the forest on a stagecoach that was going as fast as it could. Qingyu kept his face calm, but his worried companion watched him with suspicion, while Qingyu secretly planned to flee this land for the vast Tanhe Empire before the Divine Sword Empire's order made it impossible. He figured the Divine Sword Empire had hundreds of cities, but in reality, it was still just a tiny country. But in the vast Tanhe Empire, thousands of cities rise alongside many mighty clans. To the mighty Tanhe Empire, the Divine Sword Empire was nothing but a tiny grain of sand. After that, he vowed to return soon and crush Zhaoan and Liking Ha into dust. Qingyu looked at her grandfather in shock and asked how he could let such a strange, gloomy man with his messy clothes get onto the cart, convinced he was clearly a bad person. Hearing this, the grandfather told his granddaughter Yuhua that despite the man's sloppy look, his strong body made him a perfect companion for the dangerous road ahead to the Tanhe Empire, and with him along, they would feel much safer. Yuhua then asked who could possibly threaten them since her grandfather was none other than Jin Nanwan of the Tan Empire, while Qingyu, having accidentally overheard the talk, was shocked to discover the old man beside him was truly who he said he was. Qingyu recalled the tales of Jin Nanwan, a real-life hero who guarded the empire's borders against evil spirits. But sadly, in a past life, the Immortal Clan helped the Divine Sword Empire quickly overthrow the Teen Empire, and Jin Nanwan was killed by Xiao Dan. Now Qingyu was lucky enough to ride in the same wagon as Chen Nanwan. When the man on the bus kept staring at her, Yui Hua couldn't help but ask why he was looking at her like that. Qingyu spun around and called out that it was a stranger, which made Jin Nanwan furious just as unseen people chased their cart. The coachman turned to the owner and said they had about 100 miles left to reach the Tanhe Empire. Jin Nanwan shouted for him to push faster so they could reach the empire right away. He then turned to Qingyu and made a gesture, but nothing happened. As soon as Qingyu heard this, he knew Jin Nanwan had been hiding his true intentions all along, and just then, a sudden volley of red-tipped arrows struck the horse, sending the cart shaking violently. Everyone inside instantly wondered what was going on. After that, a massive chained blade flew out, sliced the cart in half, and then shot back to its master. After blowing up the cart, she told Jin Nanwan that they had been ordered to cut off his head. Jin Nanwan instantly shouted a warning for everyone to stay safe as the deadly Death Clan assassins from the Taiyan Empire launched their attack. Hearing this, Qingyu instantly recalled them, the famous assassins of the Teen Empire. The woman who halted the wagon drove her sword deep into the earth and then demanded that Jin Nanwan quietly accept his death. When Jin Nanwan heard this, he stroked his beard and laughed, saying the Death Clan had clearly underestimated him. Then his tone grew serious as he asked if she really thought she could kill him all by herself. The killer, who had heard the old man refuse to follow orders, replied that she was certainly not alone in hunting him down. Something was soaring right above Jin Nanwan's head. Seeing this, Qingyu quickly told him to watch out. He then snatched up a spear and held it out to block the arrow, which was glowing with a scarlet light. Seeing this, Jin Nanwan was shocked by what was unfolding. Qingyu saw the arrow belonged to Sun Dad, snapped it in two with a burst of energy, and slid forward a few steps from the force. Qingyu felt drained as she held the arrow in her hand. The girl who shot the arrow was shocked that someone managed to bounce it back with the Sun Dad's power, so she leaped from her tree to her partner. When Jin Nanwan heard that the Sun's arrow was one of the Death Clan's 3 deadly secret weapons, she was absolutely shocked. He realized they would kill him at any cost, so he turned around to face them. Jin Nanwan told them he would quietly give up his life if they let his granddaughter and the others walk away free. Upon hearing this, Yuhua quickly turned to her grandfather to try and change his mind, but the blade-wielding killer readily agreed to his terms since it would make things easier for her. Suddenly, Qingyu's hand flew up to cover Jin Nanwan's face. He promised Jin Nanwan that he would save his life and wouldn't let him die. He stepped up to the killers, introduced himself, and promised to keep the old man safe. Once they saw who they were up against, the assassins decided to help Qingyu kill him. After that, he asked them to introduce themselves because he didn't want to kill the nameless. The killers stepped forward to meet their victim, with the archer Wu Yui and the blade-wielding woman Wookie standing right beside him. As soon as they spoke their names, Qingyu's mind instantly flashed back to the Wookiee sisters he had known in a past life. After the Teen Empire fell, they wandered into the desert and soon became legends there. But unfortunately, they lost to Jowan and faced death, so Qingyu realized he had to win over these two allies. Seeing the enemy hesitate, Wookie threw her blade at Qingyu to kill him, but Qingyu quickly threw back a spear from the god of war to catch the flying blade. The blast was so powerful that the audience had to shield themselves from the dust swirling in the air around them. When Qingyu caught his spear, he realized the god of war's weapon felt just as light in his hand. Suddenly, Wu surged forward with a massive blade, smashing the ground beneath Qingyu's feet so hard that Wookie immediately asked if it was the war god's spear. Seizing the chance, Wookie drew back the bowstring, arguing that while Qingyu had only survived the sun god's last arrow by pure luck, this time a shot fired with full force would surely take his life. Qingyu threw herself into the air to dodge Wookie's blade, and when her own weapon bounced back from him, she realized he was a divine genius. She said the distance between them was too wide to plan another attack. Then she struck with her glowing yellow weapon, the blade of the scorching sun. Qingyu reacted in a flash, calling on the ghost of Yazi to stand between them and the blade of the soaring sun. As Qingyu's furious attack grew impossible to stop, Wookie stepped in to warn her that he couldn't handle her by himself. Then she broke right through Qingyu's defenses. As Qingyu was tossed aside, he flipped in the air, landed to break his fall, and realized that even with the ghost of Yazi by his side, he couldn't unleash his strongest moves while Wukong was still watching. Qingyu stood up, laughed at Wu's weak moves, and she shot back that he was talking nonsense. Qingyu told Wu that since her martial arts weren't finished yet, she was trying to use the powerful black-level moves even though she only had the weaker yellow-level weapons in her hands. Hearing this, Wookie launched a flurry of attacks at Qingyu, who calmly shut his eyes. After that, he could easily sidestep every attack. Qingyu dodged Wookie's flurry of attacks, stepped forward to thrust his spear into Wookie's neck, then suddenly stopped just short, leaving Wookie completely shocked. He told her again that her fighting style was incomplete and full of mistakes. Watching her sister held hostage, Wookie screamed at Qingyu to call him a bastard and let her go. Qingyu thought it over and then offered to help Wookie sharpen her skills, but only if one rule was followed. Upon hearing this, Wookie shouted at Qingyu to stop, declaring that she refused help because if her skills were weaker than the enemy's, she was already dead. Wookie turned to her sister and told her not to care about the woman but to kill both her and the enemy right now to finish their mission. Wookie's hands shook as she readied her bow for the shot. Qingyu knew the Wu sisters were inseparable, so she could safely ignore Wookie. As Yua watched the fight, she suddenly realized Qingyu was incredibly strong, and her grandfather agreed he'd made the right choice betting on the young man from the Qing family, adding that his journey to the desert lands had already been very useful for him. Qingyu gripped his spear and pressed its sharp tip right up against Wookie. Seeing this, Wookie begged him to stop, dropped the bow and arrows, and bowed to ask Qingyu to spare her sister and kill only her. After weighing the situation, Qingyu pulled his spear free from Wookie and declared the Death Clan worthless and shameless for acting against the sisters' wishes after raising them. Then he asked if they truly wanted to stay with them. Holding her hand around her neck, Wookie demanded to know how Qingyu could know anything about the Death Clan, and he answered that he knew everything, including how the head of the clan had been plotting to have an affair with the sisters for a long time. Stunned by what she heard, Wookie screamed that this just couldn't be true. Then Qingyu went on to explain that the sisters and their victims, even their own family, were secretly controlled by the Death Clan like puppets who were tortured and mocked. When he heard this, Wookie shook his head and said that their leader only takes the lives of those who truly deserve to die. Qingyu advised the sisters to verify everything themselves, confident that his whispers of doubt had already planted the seeds for their eventual switch to his side, since they were still in the dark about the true family secrets. Seeing the sisters lose hope, Qingyu offered them a choice: leave their family behind and find a new home. Wookie laughed at what she heard, calling it a huge generosity. Wookie asked Qingyu if he knew how deadly the Death Clan was and what terrible fate awaited anyone who tried to leave it. Then she asked if he could protect them from it. Qingyu slipped away with his spear, calmly told them not to rush, and promised they'd have time to think before inviting the sisters to meet him at the grandest inn in the Tanhe Empire whenever they were ready. Filled with rage, Wookie warned Qingyu that he had just gotten a chance to kill her, and now she and her sister would do their very best to take his life. As Qingyu left, he urged them to give it a shot. Wookie heard those words and instantly lost all her fighting spirit. Wookie's sister warned that her sisters owed no one, and she promised to kill him next time for sure. After talking to Qingyu, Wookie told Jin Nanwan that once he arrived in the Tan Empire, he knew he could no longer live as freely as before because the Death Clan would find 100 new ways to hurt him. Jin Nanwan stood speechless after seeing what had just happened. Yuhua turned red with embarrassment, twisting a strand of hair as she tried to thank Qingyu. Seeing the scene, Qingyu leaned in to tell Yuhua that it was a huge honor for him to be personally thanked by Jin Nanwan's granddaughter. Then he turned to her grandfather and asked if he could take his granddaughter as his wife. That sudden question made Yuhua so embarrassed that she literally started smoking. When asked that question, Jin Nanwan told Qingyu that while he is a leader in cultivation, he lacks the courage, and calling him a leader by reputation would be too much. Yuhua turned to Qingyu, curious about the reputation her grandfather was talking about. Then she realized that this man was Qingyu, the killer of the Divine Sword Empire's emperor and the one everyone was hunting. She suddenly understood that grandfather had known everything from the very start, and when she questioned him, he simply smiled and said she was thinking too slowly. Jin Nanwan placed a comforting hand on his granddaughter's shoulder and told her that if Qingyu's brother truly wants this, he is ready to take on that heavy responsibility. When they mentioned the marriage license, Yuhua tried to find words to speak up. But then Qingyu suddenly coughed and said he was just kidding and needed to think, which made Yuhua fall to the ground. Qingyu told Gen Nanu to hurry and ignore Yuhua, so Gen Nanu agreed and moved faster. Hearing that it was just a joke, the embarrassed Yuhua burned with rage and wanted to get revenge. Qingyu and his friends were walking toward the grand gates of Teen City. As soon as Jin Nanwan appeared, the crowd bowed to honor their king and started talking about him. Men cheered for their ruler while girls chatted about Princess Yuhua beside him. A man pushed his way through the jostling crowd. Hang Fei pushed through the bustling crowd to find his ruler, bowed down to him, and told him that his father still held him in high memory. Jin Nan chuckled as he rubbed his beard, admitting he hadn't seen his own father in a long time either. Huang Fei walked up to Yua, calling out Lu to say hello and let her know he missed her terribly. Lu, scared of Huang Fei's pushy way, nervously said they didn't really know each other well. When Huang Fei heard this and didn't get why Lu said it, she told her that everyone around them had grown up together as a family and were already counted as engaged. Hearing this, Qingyu told Liu that she had good taste and that Huang Fei was quite talented, which made her shout out that she was not. When Qingyu spoke, Huang Fei laughed at himself and told him he wasn't worthy of such praise, which made Lu angry. Lu, fueled by anger, found a way to get revenge. then suddenly embraced Qingyu while blushing and whispering beloved, leaving everyone in shock. Qingyu found herself in a tricky spot and realized just how mean she'd become, while Jin Nunwan and his group backed Liu because they thought Yazi was better suited to handle Lioa's strong words, leaving Hang Fei in shock and unable to believe what she was seeing. To seal the deal on Jin Nanwan, Liu revealed that Qingyu was her lover. After those words, the ground beneath Huang Fei's feet cracked as his rage surged. Then he let out a burst of angry energy and told Lioa not to make him laugh. Seeing how angry Hang Fei was, Liu reminded him they had been together for a long time and were getting married soon. Hang Fei boiled with such rage that he smashed his fan and told Liu she was probably just tired from the road, even arranging a banquet for her. Afterward, he bowed to the king, explained the banquet was meant in his honor, and happily agreed to the feast while rubbing his beard. Alone in the vast city, a huge riding dinosaur roamed the streets, admired by people who rode on its back. Liu told her grandfather that it had been ages since they had visited this place. Qingyu and Huang Fe stayed quiet with their arms crossed on the other side. Unable to hold back his feelings, Huang Fe turned to Qingyu and warned that even though he didn't know him, Liu belonged only to him. Then he told Qingyu to leave Tanhe right away and get out of the city by tomorrow, warning that if he stays, he'd be skinned alive. When asked that question, Qingyu smiled and said he'd leave the Taiyan, but Hang Fei would have to wait his turn. After all, he plans to marry Liu, have a son and daughter, and only then return to discuss it. Huang Fei introduced Qingyu and Liu to a child, caught them, and decided this wouldn't happen. After that, he threatened Qingyu with death, calling him an insolent man and claiming that Lioa would never protect him. Qingyu apologized, admitted he could be both arrogant and talented, and asked Hang Fei to keep his promise. Hearing this, the furious Huang finally let go of Qingyu, warning that his time would come, while Qingyu shook off the dust from where Huang had grabbed his clothes and immediately thought that Liu had caused him far too many trouble. At the entrance of the Teen City blacksmith clan stood their famous artifacts, like a furnace that was burning hot. Huang leaped from the dinosaur and immediately told the king and his daughter that they had arrived. As King Jin Nunwan and Liu stepped down, Jin Nunwan rubbed his beard and admitted that the blacksmith clan lived up to its famous reputation in Tanhe, even though Liu was still disgusted by the massive amount of yellow metal decorating the gates. Huang bowed to the king, thanked him for his kind words, explained that his father had crafted all the decorations at the entrance, and then invited them inside to see the living room. Hang led the guests through the doors and into the banquet hall. He stepped inside to tell them his father couldn't make the banquet due to important work, but he would be hosting King Jin Nanwan as the honored guest and asked for a moment to get the dinner ready. Peeking in from the inside, Qingyu had to admit that the blacksmith clan was truly fancy. Many dishes were laid out on the table to celebrate the king and his daughter coming home. Hang welcomed the guests to the table, then brought out the hard-to-find underground dragon meat to strengthen Liu's body, explaining that he had hunted it himself just for him. As soon as Qingyu saw the meat, he snatched it up, leaving Hang Fei so shocked he tried to take it back. Suddenly, Qingyu fought back with a surprising burst of strength, grabbing the underground dragon meat from Huang's hand. Qingyu instantly felt his strength surge, and without a second's thought, he began clearing the table. Seeing his chance, Huang hurried to tell the king that he had finally awakened the sacred fifth-rank fire, a moment of divine honor from his ancestor that left Jin Nunwan and Liu completely stunned. After he shared that the master had learned Huang Fei wanted to marry Liu, he promised to visit Taiyan himself in a few days to ask for their hand, leaving the king and his daughter feeling quite sad. Qingyu was shocked that Huang Fei could wake the sacred fire, a rare magical power that martial artists can grow into 9 different ranks from the weakest to the strongest. The moment a warrior wakes the holy fire, they rise to become the continent's most respected figure, a master of tempering. Qingyu figured that even though Huang Fei was lucky to reach rank 5, he was still a rare find. Huang Fei's ancestor was such a powerful figure in the Teen Empire that he not only reached rank 6 but also climbed all the way to the very peak of the spiritual realm. To everyone's surprise, Huang revealed that his mentor had promised to organize a wedding so grand the world hadn't seen in ages for him and Liu. Jin Nunwan stayed quiet, knowing that trouble was coming. After dinner and dropping Qingyu off at the grandest inn in the Taiyan Empire, Liu asked why he was leaving now, since he could have just stayed in the king's palace. Qingyu spun around to ask if Liu would miss him, only to see her frown and turn away with a gloomy look, rubbing her face before telling him she had already left. Qingyu silently cheered Liu on, reassuring her that Huang Fei was no match for them since they were truly meant to be together, and vowing not to let him trap Liu in Hank's room, all while he sat in his room meditating and pulling the ghost dragon Yazi into his own spirit. In this way, he trained his body to be stronger. While meditating, he dreamed of quicker ways to grow stronger, like eating rare natural treasures or the meat of mutated beasts. He promised to find what he needed tomorrow so he could step into the second level of the spiritual world and finally tame the second beast, the nine-legged golden raven. After summoning the nine-legged golden raven, a rank 9 sacred fire that controls the flames of heaven and earth, Qingyu took one last look at Huang's face before mentally stepping away. A spy from the blacksmith clan slipped to the lone Huang Fury on the balcony and found the secret he needed. He discovered that the stranger Li Yu was actually with Qingyu and came from the Qing family of the Divine Sword Empire. After hearing the report, Huang recalled the rumors about the Qing family, asked the spy if Qingyu was actually horned by an immortal, and received a firm yes. Huang gritted his teeth and let out a crazy laugh, declaring that after realizing the person beside him was nothing but trash, he still decided to let him live because he had once seen Lu become Qingyu's wife. While Qingyu laughed off the tedium of describing the martial art, he pulled out a scroll claiming to have found the Thunder Palm in a past life, noting that even though this black-level item was low tier, it could be traded for a fortune in nature jewels. Qingyu rose from the bed, slipped on his cloak, and walked out of the room. Stepping into the auction house, Qingyu felt a wave of joy wash over her as she returned to this familiar place. As soon as he stepped inside the auction house, old memories flooded his heart. When the hostess saw the visitor, she asked Qingyu what he wanted. But Qingyu snapped that it didn't matter and demanded to speak to Miss Warner before apologizing and running off, telling Qingyu to wait. After a while, a three-headed snake slithered up to Qingyu, where the lovely Miss Warner was sitting. The auction house hostess walked Warner right up to Qingyu, and he instantly greeted her, claiming they hadn't seen each other in ages, which made her wonder who he could possibly be. Qingyu instantly declared his desire to join the underground auction, shocking Warner and the attendant, before Miss Warner invited him to follow her. Once they were in the empty room, the escort let Warner and Qingyu in before locking them inside. Once inside, Qingyu said he'd love to come back here again. Miss Warner lit her pipe, then told Qingyu they were strangers and asked how he knew her. Qingyu simply said she didn't care and added that he already knew the auction rules. Qingyu pulled out a scroll he had just written and asked Warner how much it would cost. Warner opened the scroll and asked Qingyu what it was, and she quickly realized it was a black-level technique. Qingyu nodded, treating the deadly black-level technique like it was nothing special at all. After that, Miss Warner asked if he was certain about putting it up for auction, since using black-level techniques costs a lot of money. Warner told Qingyu that selling the secret technique would earn her 1 million gold, and then she said that if he trusted him, the auction house would offer even more, 1.5 million. Qingyu figured that a tempering pill cost 10,000 gold, so he agreed to trade his 1.5 million for 150 of them. Warner was so happy about the great deal that he nodded to Qingyu and said thank you. After lighting his pipe, Warner marveled at getting such a powerful skill from someone unexpected. Before Qingyu suggested Warner might be training for a strong spiritual force in Tianhe, and Warner eagerly agreed to stay for the day's auction to find the one extraordinary jewel he was there to see. Warner offered to walk Qingyu down to the underground auction hall. Warner led Qingyu to the auction, where he gave him a warm welcome as soon as they stepped into the arena. The crowd was stunned by Warner's rare, sweet smile, which made them curious about the person standing beside her. Qingyu leaned over to Miss Warner and praised the amazing view, but she laughed and said that only the most special guests ever get to sit there. Suddenly, a voice called out to Warner from a distance, greeting her. He said he'd come to her after that voice spoke to him. Warner suddenly woke up and waved hello to Mr. Huang. Huang Xian stepped closer with a bright smile to tell Warner she had a great gift, and Warner gave thanks while hiding her face in her hands. Hangin told how her father kept asking her to marry, but she kept saying no until he reached out to touch her, causing Warner to leap back with a laugh and miss his mark. Hangin laughed at how simple it was to make Warner feel foolish, and he had already talked to his father about taking the whole prize money from today's game as a ransom for her. He grinned with desire and claimed that even her father couldn't refuse such an offer, which made Warner lose his courage. As Qingyu watched what happened behind him, he knew the divine spear would be sold today, even though it was now broken. Huang Xian watched Qingyu sit there before roughly grabbing his shoulder and demanding that he roll as far away as possible from what he claimed was his own private spot. Watching Hangin attack her guest, Warner jumped in to say that since he was her guest, there was no need to be so rude. Hearing the news, Huang Xian tried to hold back his tears and told Warner that the place had always been his, only for Qingyu to claim it was now his, which made Huang Xian so angry he called Qingyu trash and threatened him for being only at the first spiritual realm. Qingyu, fed up with the noise, slapped Huang Qian in the face, sending him stumbling back a few meters before he tried to speak again. Qingyu told Hangyan that he was losing his temper and would meet the next world if Hangyan said even one more word. After hitting his limit, Hangyan gritted his teeth, called Qingyu a freak, unleashed his energy, and warned that no one dared speak to him like that, threatening to help anyone who wanted to die. Seeing what Hangyan was doing, Warner shouted for him to stop. She told him that nobody was allowed to start a scandal in her auction house, and that rule was for everyone. As soon as Huang Xian heard those words, he frantically pointed at Qingyu to explain, only for the furious Warner to roar at him to be quiet. Huang Xian nodded in fearful agreement to her order, took his seat, and decided to take the insult quietly in front of Warner. But Qingyu will be done the moment he walks out of the hall. Sitting in the back rows, a man with a jade tablet told his master that Qingyu had gotten into a fight with the Huang Xianwan family, while Huang Fei just watched his maids eat grapes before realizing from a spy that Qingyu was looking for trouble. After that, Hangfei used a tablet to call Wang Guan and told him about Qingyu, which made him very happy because he realized the man who insulted him was just a servant of a dying empire and not a real threat. Warner stepped onto the stage to welcome guests to her auction, declaring that the incredible treasures up for sale were far better than anything sold before. Hearing this, the guests cheered for the auction to begin, already hooked on what was to come. Warner waved her hand to call the first box, and when she opened it to show the glowing survival pill inside, she announced that it was a second-class one. Warner explained that whether someone was flesh or bone, dead or alive, this pill would heal any wound instantly, and he set the starting price at 10,000 gold. Suddenly, the hall erupted into chaos when a bald man yelped a price of 15,000, only to be instantly silenced by a horned man beside him who shouted back that it was $18,000. Qingyu yawned as he saw the first batch of goods and decided to nap until something worth his time showed up, so he instantly drifted off to sleep. Huang Xian sat nearby with a dark look and told Qingyu to keep sleeping peacefully since today was his final day. Half an hour later, Warner cheered the man in the front row for winning the jewel, sent the maid backstage to bring out the next set, and told the crowd that today's auction was coming to a close. Once the news was out, the backstage area opened up and a group of men hauled a big, heavy box out onto the stage. Qingyu heard news of a fresh batch and woke up instantly, rubbing his mouth in eager excitement. The spy from the forging clan suddenly burst into flames and begged for the weapon. Warner started handing out the group. It was a divine spear, broken and battered, yet still a legendary weapon that she said would cost 1,000,000 gold if you could find one in perfect shape. As soon as he saw the item, she offered to raise the price, and the spy from the forging clan instantly shouted out 1.5 million. After that, he told everyone nearby that this thing was super important to his family and that he hoped to earn their respect. Warner quickly spotted that the forging and casting clan were once again trying to drive down product prices. Just as Qingyu was about to make his bid, a woman in a raincoat suddenly stepped up beside him and offered 2 million, saying she needed this thing just as much as he did. Qingyu glanced at the cloaked figure and instantly realized it had to be Wookiee. When he heard the bid was 2 million, the forging clan spy jumped up in a rage, shouting that someone had dared to outbid his own clan before ordering her off the stage. When she heard those words, Wookiee pulled her hood off, and the spy got scared that the Death Clan was also trying to grab the broken divine spear for themselves. He knew he couldn't fight the Death Clan and hoped his master would understand. Wookiee beamed with delight, claiming the object as her own. When Qingyu heard the words, he leaped from his seat and wagered 3 million, then sneered at Wookiee, who flew into a rage, convinced Qingyu did it on purpose, while Hangian stared in shock that such a brat actually had 3 million gold. Warner asked for a higher price for the gold, but no one could beat Qingyu's offer. So Warner declared the broken divine weapon was now Qingyu's and blew him a kiss that left him shocked. Warner then announced that today they are bringing out another batch. This is the last move, the dark level skill known as the Thunder Palm. Only after witnessing such a rare sight as a black level technique did the crowd cheer with excitement. And then Warner declared the opening bid at 5 million to start the auction. The hall instantly filled up with loud noise. Everyone with money jumped in to try and win the jackpot, starting with the bald man's 6 million bet, followed by the bearded man's 7 million. Then Huang Xian erupting like a volcano to shout 10 million, and finally the blacksmith clan spy who wouldn't stay silent and outbid Wang Shuan with a massive 12 million wager. Huang flew into a rage at the spy, demanded Hang Xian explain, and learned the young master ordered the technique at any cost. So the spy apologized to Wang and shocked everyone by doubling his own bet to 15 million. When he heard this, Huang Xian burst with rage and declared to Huang Fei that he would no longer aid him in his quest for revenge against Qingyu. Wookiee laughed at the $15 million bet as weak, then threw her hand up to wager a cool $18 million. But Qingyu suddenly covered her mouth, telling her not to bet and promising to explain why later. Outraged by Qingyu's behavior, Wookiee told him she wouldn't listen to him and declared she was going to bet 20 million. She slowly lowered her hand, nodded in agreement with Qingyu, but felt puzzled as she wondered why she should listen to him since no one else had raised the stakes, until Warner declared that this technique now belonged to the blacksmith clan spy. Hearing this, the spy laughed, thrilled at the chance to get a forbidden technique for his master. Qingyu reminded Wookiee not to forget their promise, and after he invited her to visit his big house in Tanhei, he walked away. A moment later, Warner stepped into Qing Yu's room, admitting he had arrived just too late. He answered that he had come the moment the chance appeared, and then Warner thanked Qing Yu. Qing Yu praised her as a true friend, saying she could sell equipment at such a low price without ever tricking a single buyer. Then he asked if he owed her anything for it. Warner slipped up to Qing Yu and whispered that he could still help her with something. Hearing this, Qing Yu couldn't help but want to ask her a question. He wrapped his hand around her waist, tilted her chin up, and then asked the shy Warner if she'd do him a favor. Warner wanted to ask Qing Yu what she planned to do, but suddenly, overcome by emotion, she leaned in to kiss him. Suddenly, Qing Yu held out his hand, promising he wouldn't play a trick on her and just asked her to fetch his item. Warner quickly pulled out the ring, coughed, and told Qing Yu that the auction house had given him this warehouse ring along with the lot. Qing Yu slipped the ring on and declared it impressive, noting that its medium yellow glow made it a solid storage ring. Then, he recalled something and asked Warner to let him know if Hang Yin would ever invite her to dig up the ancient ruins again. As he promised he'd come along, he waved goodbye and walked away, leaving Warner wondering just what ruins he meant. Grant Tiana Avenue, where Qing Yu strolled through the city with a lazy ease, convinced that his soul knew these Warner streets from a past life even after he had just returned from the ancient ruins. Then she had to marry Huang Xian, who had plotted a trap to force her. But once they were wed, his true nature came out and turned her life into a living hell. In his past life, Qing Yu couldn't save Warner from the dark hole she was in, but now he has promised to lead her to heaven. Late one night, Qing Yu sat in his room meditating while pills floated around him like tiny glowing stars. He figured that ordinary warriors at the first level of the spiritual realm can only handle one tempering pill. Some gifted folks can handle about 3, but mighty warriors who have reached their peak can down 10 pills and a drink all at once. Qing Yu, who holds the power of Yazi, is unmatched in strength and can swallow 150 pills in a single breath. Qing Yu swallowed the pills, caught a flash of a 9-legged golden raven's shadow, drank up its power in one go, shouted out, and watched as his clothes ripped apart. Qing Yu was exhausted from swallowing 150 pills, yet a 9-legged golden raven appeared on his forehead. He glanced at his hands and realized that the 150 tempering pills were just enough to push him into the second realm of spiritual power. Qing Yu gently touched a tiny flame from the 9-legged golden crow, let it warm his fingers, and then pulled out his broken divine spear and the war god's spear from his ring to pour the fiery power into both weapons, hoping the mysterious fire would mend their cracks and make them whole again. A brand new divine weapon was born with a flash that lit up the whole sky. Qing Yu stared at the war god's upgraded spear, then seized it with a dream that he could forge it into his own first-stage divine weapon. He declared that he had nearly reached the 5th level of the spiritual realm, where his power would soon fill the very air around him. The men carrying the palanquin froze in their tracks as a blinding flash of lightning split the sky above Tanhe, casting its sudden light through the palanquin's curtains. An old man sat inside and pulled back the curtains while thinking about the flash. The flash made him realize a powerful first-stage weapon had appeared in Tianhe, so he quickly started planning how to steal it, laughing to himself at the profit it would bring. The Death Clan was a lavish gathering of dark horrors, featuring burning skulls with glowing eye sockets that seemed to pulse with life. WBU and Wookiee bowed low to their master to give him a warm welcome. The leader of the Death Clan, Hazahin, accused the Wu sisters of their bad deeds. King Jin-nan couldn't kill the enemy and failed to buy what he needed at the auction, leaving him puzzled about what to do next. Wookiee placed her hand over her heart and begged the head to punish them by making him laugh, lifting her chin with his finger. Wazin reminded them that he had raised them from childhood and then wondered how he could punish them for something like that. After speaking those words, he told the sisters they had a new job and hoped this time they wouldn't mess it up. Weru and Wookiee instantly said yes to the job, but their faces showed they weren't happy about it. When he heard his servants were ready, he explained that Qing Yu from the Qing family of the Divine Sword Empire had ruined their plans because he killed Emperor Liana, forcing him to flee to the Tanhe Empire, so now the Immortal Clan wants him captured and the Wu sisters have been given this job. Hearing this, the sisters bowed and raced toward the goal, but the moment they left, he flared with anger, calling them useless and saying he had raised them in vain. So much so that he grabbed his face and vowed that if they failed again, he would find new pets. The next morning, Leah stood before Qing Yu's inning. After yawning as he left the inn, Qing Yu asked what she wanted from him so early. Liana walked up to Qing Yu and said that starting today, he would live in the palace because this inn was not good enough for him. When Qing Yu asked if she missed her fiancé, Li Jianha explained that he had to visit the palace to get powerful weapons and argued that while Huangf and Hangin were scary on their own, together they could still scare Qing Yu. Qing Yu patted Lana on the head, teasing her about being scared and promising that as long as she was there, no one would ever dare to bother him. Li Jianha playfully pretended to be furious, loudly claiming that the Death Clan had blocked the Divine Sword Empire's mission and even sent assassins after him. Qingyu placed a hand on Lana's shoulder to calm her worries, told her not to fear him, and asked her to show him Tiana. Lai Jianhe cried out in desperation, admitting she had no idea what words could convince him. As they strolled along Tanha, Qingyu and Liha shared sweets, laughed at the circus acts, and savored every step of their walk together. As Liha stepped onto the bridge, she spotted someone she knew. She instantly spotted Warner from the auction house, noticing how much more handsome he had become since they last met. Qingyu urged Lai Jianhe to first look in the mirror, a challenge that turned her face red with embarrassment. As she got closer to Warner, Qingyu and Lai Jian stepped forward to say hello, and she returned their warm greeting. Seeing her friend, Lai Jianhe beamed with joy, told her they hadn't seen each other in ages, asked why she'd been so distant, and reminded her she could still call her Yuka. Warner laughed at the news, but she still kept calling her Yuka. Warner couldn't help but notice Qingyu standing in Liana's company and asked if she was really daring enough to come there. He answered, how could he not be worried about meeting such a beauty? And then asked her why she had really come. Warner told Lai that since she was there, she should agree Qingyu must be extra careful with the Death Clan, but she just brushed it off as nothing. Hearing that Qingyu wasn't worried about the Death Clan assassins, the owner quietly got ready to leave so he wouldn't distract them. Suddenly, Li Jian pulled her in close to suggest a walk, offering to show her Tanha since Leah had been around so long that she'd forgotten most of it. Qingyu agreed to Lijiana's idea, then gave both of them a tight hug that made them blush and laugh, saying they definitely needed to go together. That warm hug made Warner think about Qingyu even more, and then they went for a walk. At Tani Oriental Market, as Lijiana and Warner walked through the city with their arms around a guy, everyone started talking about what was going on. They started wondering what kind of man had the nerve to hug such beautiful women. After that, some folks recalled seeing him just recently honored in Tianha. As Qingyu listened to the chatter, he couldn't help but sigh at just how famous they really were. Warner told Qingyu not to worry about the crowd, while Lai Jianhe saw that he was panicking. Suddenly, Qingyu heard the crack of a whip and instantly rushed into the busy crowd. The slave trader punished the enslaved woman for trying to run away by whipping her with a heavy whip. His slave could only whimper in pain, fighting hard not to let the tears fall. The slave trader told them he wouldn't just let her run away, warning that if she tried to escape again, he would kill her. Warner spotted the slave trader, named Fy Li, and shouted that he was hurting the slave all over again. When Liana saw that scene, her heart burned with anger, and she vowed that one day she would free the empire from the slave trade. Warner explained that Flea is a proud and bossy man who gets to do whatever he wants because he is a relative of the powerful Huang family from the blacksmith clan, and every month or two, he publicly humiliates his slaves. Meanwhile, the heavy man Li slammed the slave to the ground again, shouting that she was ungrateful for his food and songs, and that she kept running away from him. The young slave girl was slowly gathering her strength. With tears streaming down her face, File Li stared at the fat man and warned him that if he killed her, she would bring him back from the other world to face justice for taking her family's lives. When the slave snarled, Philly kicked her and asked why he had ruined her family, calling himself just as trash as she was, then told her he would have killed her except for her pretty face while shouting that he paid 2 million silver for her, making her his master and his sky. Having said that, the fat man stomped his foot down and yanked the slave by the chain around his neck. When Qingyu heard the name Jiao Ryu, she quickly asked the girls if that was truly how the slave was called, and Warner confirmed it with a yes. Qingyu gave a knowing smirk and said he didn't think he'd ever see this. When Qingyu smirked at Liu, she knew something bad was coming. Qingyu stepped toward the heavyset man, declaring that this slave needed to be saved. As Philly recalled a past life where people faced terrible trouble, he dropped the chain and began to choke because he was so tired. He then turned to the crowd and shouted for them to scatter, wondering if they had ever seen a disobedient slave being beaten. After those words, Ji Royu stared gloomily at File Li, and he wondered why a sad slave's look made him feel scared. Then he raised his whip, ready to strike again. Out of the blue, Qingyu snatched File Li's hand. Fody, shocked by what he saw, turned to the stranger and demanded to know how he dared to mess with his business. Qingyu offered to buy the girl if the fat man named a price, but when told she wasn't for sale and ordered out, Qingyu reminded Philii that since she was sold against her will, he would force the fat man to let him redeem her, making the fat man laugh. After Philly demanded to know who he was, Qingyu ordered the brat to leave, but upon hearing the refusal, he knew he had no choice left. The proud, heavy man Li wanted to warn Qingyu that he wouldn't dare. Suddenly, Qingyu smashed the fat man's face, sending him flying backward 10 meters. The crowd was stunned that someone dared to hit File Li, knowing this kid was about to get crushed by the blacksmith clan. Only Jiru stared at Qingyu with wide eyes, completely amazed. Philly stood up from the ground, still as angry as ever. Fad Li called down a ghost boar and shouted his promise to kill Qingyu, unleashing a powerful yellow technique that made Qingyu shrink back in fear while Philly soared toward him, only for File Li to crash into an energy wall and be blasted flying across the neighboring streets. After sending the fat man flying, Qingyu thought about the name of the fat man's technique and then said that it suits a pig like him. Qingyu gently stroked the slave girl's head, claimed her as his own, and used his fire to smash her chains, earning himself some respect, while nearby Warner and Lu whispered about how strange the boy was and how angry Huang Fury would be if he found out. Qingyu gently lifted the sleeping Jiru from her spot. Together with the girls, they left that place when they saw Princess Yu Hua and Warner, sparking curiosity about the mysterious stranger, after which the man in green clothes claimed Fat Li had insulted a powerful man, only for the man with the basket standing beside him to reply that the blacksmiths wouldn't let it slide. As Lu walked the streets asking Qingyu what to do with the girl, Warner suggested letting her stay at the auction house if no one else would take her in. Qingyu smirked and claimed he'd take care of everything himself. He knew it was her because the ancient demon's power in her blood made her glow just like the one he had always imagined. Lu twisted her face with a frown, thinking about the wrong thing and telling him she didn't think he liked it. Qingyu turned to Lu and admitted she saw no future in the little girl, making Lu think Qingyu was just trying to dazzle everyone with empty talk. Qingyu recalled that Jiroyu would rise to become a demon lord, leading a vast army of evil spirits in just a few decades and condemning humanity to a terrible fate. After that, he understood that the heavy years of slavery had carved such deep wounds into her heart that she could no longer bear to be around people. Suddenly, he saw that she needed to stop walking around in that ragged clothes. Warner promised to head to the biggest union, Yanyulu. A short while later, Yanyulu, Qingyu and the girls stepped into the union, where a merchant immediately came forward to greet them. Warner told him they were looking to buy a dress for Jiroyu. Once Warner asked his favor, the merchant called Qingyu to walk right behind him. The girls left alone chose to take a walk while they waited for Qingyu. Hang Fei walked through the bustling Yanlu market, his heart racing with anticipation for the vibrant, feathered eagle gown that was about to arrive. Suddenly, he spotted Liu and rushed to greet her, claiming he'd been searching for her, only to realize she had found him first. Surprised by the sudden meeting, Liu asked Huang Fei what he was doing there, and Hong Fei wrinkled his nose while explaining that he'd heard high-quality clothes were coming soon. So he thought about checking them out to buy one for Lu, noting that the special item was a dress made from 9 different colored eagle feathers. That dress was so pricey and rare, you'd never find one like it in Tianhaina. After speaking, Hank invited Liu to come along, but she quickly said no, and then a loud noise from upstairs caught Hank's attention. Suddenly, everyone nearby turned around and pointed their fingers at it. Qingyu walked down the stairs with Zhou and Ji, and Zhou told her how great she looked in that dress. When Huang Fei spotted the girl, he simply couldn't hold back and shouted that she was beautiful. Li couldn't believe how stunning Ji Zhou looked after changing her clothes. She was sure he hadn't expected that at all. And then she sharply asked Qingyu why they were rushing so fast, and he replied that it was only natural since they had bought just one thing. Huang Fei had a sudden realization, so he yelled that it was the perfect dress and immediately shouted to Qingyu that he'd been the first one to spot it. Qingyu wondered if Huang thought the dress was his just because he was the first to spot it. Hank nodded and gave his agreement. Qingyu asked Huang Fei if he liked the dress, and then Huang Fei demanded that Qingyu give it to him, saying he would pay any price for it. Qingyu nodded in agreement, but only if Huang Fei promised to hand over the whole forging and throwing clan. Lu and Hang bit their lips to stop giggling as Qingyu tried to make Huang Fei mad. Qingyu gently stroked Jiroyu's head, told Huang Fei not to scare the kid, and then whispered in his ear that he was really bullying him before asking what he'd do about it. When Huang Fei heard that, his rage took over, and he unleashed his 5th-rank flames to shout at Qingyu for crossing the line. Suddenly, a fight was stopped when a man ran into the hall and shouted Huang Fei's name. He made Huang Fei angry and shouted insults at the new arrival. Then Philly started pleading with Huang Fei for help. Philly began by recounting how he was beaten and his slave girl taken. Then he reminded them that hurting a servant is the same as insulting his master. Huang Fei wanted to ask Philly more questions. Suddenly, Qingyu slapped Hank's shoulder and yelled that he was the one who beat up Fei. As soon as Fei spotted Qingyu, he cursed out loud and rushed to tell his master that Qingyu had beaten him up and stolen the slave girl. Hearing this, Huang Fei was furious and reminded everyone that he had once met Yu and promised never to humiliate him. But now Qingyu decided to humiliate him again, so Huang Fei apologized to Lu for what he was about to do. He was ready to end Qingyu's life. Lu quickly stopped Huang Fei, telling him he couldn't disrespect the royal court just because he felt like it. Huang Fei asked if she truly wanted to leave the palace for Qingyu, and she answered yes, saying he was her fiancé. Huang Fei's anger bubbled right to the surface, yet he somehow managed to keep his cool. thinking everything was safe because his mentor was returning soon and the palace couldn't save Qingyu from him. Huang finally stopped holding back his feelings, said goodbye to Li Yu, and was ready to go. Philly tried to shame Huang Fei by telling him he'd lose all his honor if he walked away now. So Huang Fei exploded in rage, punched Philly, and kicked him out, leaving a face pressed hard against the wall. Lu tried to warn Qingyu that Hang's ancient ancestor was coming and he couldn't handle him, but Qingyu cut her off, saying everything was fine and he had it under control. Qingyu offered to buy anything they wanted, making the girls instantly happy, until she suddenly switched and said Li Yu would pay instead, leaving them frozen in shock. After saying goodbye to Qingyu and Ji Ruoyu, Huang called it a day and said it was time to go. Lu warned Qingyu not to hurt Ji Ruoyu in any way. After Lu said that, Qingyu joked about whether he looked like a bastard and then patted Ji Ruoyu's head. Lu let out a loud hum and turned to walk away. In the room, Qingyu was sorting through his things while Ji Ruoyu sat quietly on the bed. Zhou awkwardly asked Qingyu why she was being ransomed, and Qingyu simply told her she was still alive, asked why she was asking such pointless questions, and reminded her that there are still many kind people among humans. Once unpacked, Qingyu wished Ji Ruoyu good night, said he'd sleep in the other room, and left, quietly closing the door behind him. The blacksmith clan watched as Huang Fei, shame burning in his chest, stood before his father and cursed himself. Hang Ting, the leader of the blacksmith clan, told Huang Fei to calm down and look in the mirror, saying it was a real shame to get angry at a stray dog after being warned so many times before. Hang bowed to his father and shared the lessons he had learned. Huang Ting told his son to wait a few days until his mentor arrived in 3 days, and then they could head to Tianhai. And when the moment arrived, Lu would be in their hands, but the real prize was the sacred fire competition coming up next. Huang Fei lifted his chin and vowed to his father that he would win. When Huang Ting learned his son was ready for the contest, he laughed and promised that with his mentor's help, they would surely take first place and beat Tianhai dynasty. Huang Fei happily agreed, and while Qingyu slept soundly in the deep night, assassins crept into the room with blades raised until he finally asked why they had been so quiet. Then, the killer grabbed the blade with both hands, ready to strike. Qingyu suddenly jumped up from bed and stretched. He asked the assassins if they minded keeping their veils on at night. They took them off right away, and then Wukia checked if Qingyu was awake, only to hear him say he couldn't sleep with 2 impossible beauties standing beside him. Wukia instantly pressed her blade against Qingyu's throat and told him to understand why they were there if that was true. When Qingyu heard this, she barked orders to halt the act and declared that they were never assassins. Wukia asked Qingyu how he got the info on the Death Clan, then pulled the blade from his throat and added that judging by their looks, they had already figured something out. The assassins stayed quiet, and Qingyu told them it didn't matter how he found out about the Death Clan, because it was clear that place was no good to be in. Qingyu's face grew serious as he told them it wasn't too late to turn things around. Wukia laughed, saying those seals had been on her and her sister for so long that they couldn't leave the Death Clan until they were gone, and while they hadn't tried to remove them themselves, they knew a holy fire strong enough to do the trick. The killers seemed unsure and questioned what he wanted from them. Then he seized Wukia's hand and yanked her close to him. Wukia blushed in surprise and asked what he wanted, but Qingyu smiled and said he could break the Death Clan seal on her before he touched her with 2 burning fingers. The moment Wukia felt the 9-legged golden crow land on her, it drove deep into her flesh, making her groan aloud as the seal on her forehead vanished and she fell to the ground. The strange energy from the wuxia world faded away, and she finally felt a deep sense of relief. Wukia couldn't believe her eyes when she learned Qingyu had secretly hidden a powerful rank 6 holy fire. He answered that she had clearly guessed wrong about him. He called forth a holy flame and declared that he truly held the power of a rank 9 holy fire. Wu and Wukia stood frozen in shock. Once the flame was put out, Qingyu declared that it was now Wu Yu's turn. A moment later, the seal came off and she felt a bit confused. Qingyu explained that,